Hey, this is Kat from Red Mountain Shaman, and I share shamanic wisdom through dreams, visions, nature, synchronicities, intuition, channeling, art, music, photography, and shamanic journeys. Welcome back to my channel. So I'm just going to get right into it today. There's so much happening in the world. And remember a few videos ago, I talked about the flicker and this really fast moving energy this year. And we're definitely seeing it. So I'm just going to go along the lines of kind of what I've been seeing happening in the world in a positive respect. I try to keep my videos positive as much as possible so that I can give you guys some encouragement as to what's happening amidst the chaos that we're seeing. So yesterday I saw the number 444 and I looked that up, and it's about foundations and stability. And I do feel like these old systems that were built on a foundation of sand are being cleared out of the way so that we can move into systems that are built on love and true foundations that will last for a long time. And this number also means protection, divine support. And I believe that those of us who are here to help shift the energy on this planet do have protection and divine support. But I also feel like as these old systems are crumbling, the dark ones are really throwing out anything that they can to kind of thwart our energy, put us in fear. I know this week, me and my husband have had back-to-back dreams on the same night, which is kind of rare for us. This is only the second time this has happened, but he had a dream that somebody was like trying to break into our house to stop us from using our voices and what we're doing. And there was like a lot of fear. I like heard him breathing kind of funny and I had to wake him up. And then I fell asleep, and the same night I had a dream that the CIA was after me for the truth that I was speaking. So I think there is a little bit of energy that still wants to come in and suppress our truth. But with this 444 number, I believe that as long as we set our intentions, we are protected, and that we should keep using our voices and standing in our power. The next thing I noticed was that the FDA is, under RFK, is eliminating some sort of exemption that allows chemicals into our food. So that's really positive for our health trajectory. I remember last week I talked about a video that I saw of, the pendulum swinging away from AI and people getting sick of fake food, fake videos, fake music. And this week, right after I talked about that, Bandcamp, which is the platform that we sell our Paladine records on, just announced that they are banning any kind of AI music on their platform, which is awesome because I believe that AI really just is a stealer of true human creativity. It just picks out from the field things that we've already created, and then that they get paid for it. So the actual content creators of this music aren't really being compensated or recognized. So that's great news. The next thing I noticed was last week I talked about, I channeled a message from Tesla talking about the radiation in our tech that's harmful to our health coming more to the surface. Like, people already know about it. I remember like a few years ago, there was a guy working on our house, and he said that his son got testicular cancer because he always had his cell phone in his pants pocket. So this week, right after I talked about that, RFK health team is deciding to study the health effects of cell phones. The next thing I wanted to talk about is that Trump has won in court. Minnesota tried to sue him and keep out the cleanup from their state. And this is to probably to keep their money laundering going there. That's my opinion. It seems pretty obvious to me. So he won, and the cleanup is able to continue. And in fact, there are a lot of police there that I'm sure are not really able to truly do their job. And some of those police are starting to leave the force and applying for ICE. Also, the Minnesota governor and Tim Walz are now under investigation. And Anna Paulina Luna is tracing the the paid riots back to a billionaire with links to China and possibly the CCP. So that's kind of coming up. So this is all kind of turning back on them. And as I've been saying for a long time, we're going to see arrests. We're going to see justices coming. Tom Holman actually said that phrase, justice is coming. And I got that like 5 years ago from my Native American guides. They actually said that phrase. In past videos, a few weeks ago, I mentioned that I saw a big hospital building. And then in a few videos before that, I was talking about the insurance companies kind of coming down and being exposed and how that whole thing is a scam. So this week, I saw that there was a big nurses strike in, I think it was New York, and also Trump coming out with a new plan to give the money directly to the people for insurance choice. So this will kind of cut out the insurance companies, and that's a big blow to them. And kind of the beginning, I believe, of this scam starting to be pulled down. I mentioned in a video, it was probably like about 2 years ago, that our taxes were being used against us. So this week, I saw on one video that the fraud, some of that money that's being taken from our taxes is actually being given to terrorist factions. So I think there's going to be more coming up about that. I've mentioned a lot of times about the exposure of religion. So Islam is being more and more exposed for really how evil that they are. I saw that there was a daughter of one of these Islamist leaders that shared her personal story and just the horror that she has been enduring. They're being asked to take people out. She's witnessed a lot of things. She says she has a lot of video and evidence of this. And I remember last week I was talking about spyware and that there's going to be horrible things coming out that people have captured on video through spyware or through their own technology. So pay attention for that to be coming out. I noticed that these paid protesters are very anti-ICE, but ICE has come out and provided a list of the people and the crimes they've committed that they've arrested already. Many of these are involving abuse and also sexual abuse of kids. So I think more exposure of that is to come. I noticed that some of them got attacked with shovels. Some of them have been stealing firearms. They took out like a whole lockbox out of an ICE car and took firearms from them. They're vandalizing the cars and the property. So I think the reason that Trump hasn't invoked the Insurrection Act yet is so he can allow people to see just how bad, how violent and horrible these people are being. I noticed that also another thing Trump is doing is demanding proof that the poison darts work against the flu. And we can see that even when people get these poison darts, that they still get sick often. So that's going to be interesting for Big Pharma to prove that. I also noticed that the Clintons refused to show up in court, and this subpoena was voted on by both sides, bipartisan. So basically, they're in contempt of court right now, and that's really interesting because to me, that just screams like I'm guilty. I'm not going to come and speak here. They made a letter making all these excuses, but I don't think those excuses are going to hold ultimately. Another thing I noticed was that Ishmael Perez has brought out the fact that Islam has been created by the Jesuits. So this could have to do with religion being exposed. I remember a few years ago, I talked about how my guides, I was down in southern Utah, and they showed me that there was a Jesuit in that area that was corresponding with Brigham Young and through letters and showed Brigham Young where to go to set up the Mormon church headquarters. So very interesting stuff that he's also brought up the same thing about Islam. So maybe the Jesuits are a big factor in who created these churches. Not sure. So we'll see how that goes. And the next thing I noticed was that Ishmael also explained about the motherships that Yeshua told us were here a few weeks ago in one of my channelings. So if you want to go to his channel, I think it was the last video he made or maybe the video before that, talking about the motherships that I was told about. And Yeshua's going to talk a little bit more about who's on there. I did ask Ishmael in one of his lives, like, if there was any positive Anunnaki, and he said, yes, the Anunnaki are actually angels, which could be positive angels or fallen angels. If you want to hear his message, I think that was about a week ago. And I asked him because I asked who was on these motherships, and one of the answers I got was positive Anunnaki. So angels, basically. So then I noticed also there was a channel called Intuitive Healer that popped up on my feed that I've never seen before, and I really like her energy. And she has a great video about relationships I wanted to tell you guys about, because a lot of my clients are struggling with relationships. They feel like they're not aligned in their relationship. So she talks about karmic relationships and karma, how it's not necessarily something you did bad. It's just basically a lesson that you're learning through the relationship versus soulmate connections. So if you want to learn more about that, go watch her video about relationships. I think that came out last week. I do think that some of us are coming to the end of lessons within certain relationships, and so we're moving out of them so that we can move into a more aligned kind of soulmate relationship. And she also mentioned how some of the relationships might be ending temporarily while both parties start working on themselves, and then some of these relationships may circle back around. So it was a really interesting video that I really enjoyed. Then I noticed that we are moving into the 2026, a year of revolution, is what I've been getting from Spirit. And I noticed that last week I talked about Tesla said that there's going to be a seasonal kickoff this year. And then I looked up the Washington Monument, and they had a big sign on it projected with light onto the Washington Monument, or the obelisk they have there, celebrating America's 250th birthday celebration. And it says it's a kind of they use the same word like kickoff, like kind of like a kickoff to this birthday celebration that we're going to be having. So that was really interesting. And I believe that this year, the power is going to start returning to we the people. It's like a year of revolution, 2026. So the beginning of the power returning back to we the people. I wrote a song a couple years ago that I feel like I kind of channeled this energy ahead of time. And this song is called Revolution Moon. If you want to hear it, I will put a link to that in the description box. But I just wanted to quickly read the words. Revolution Moon. She who rides the owl brings justice. He who wields the sword brings justice. Choking on their own smoke, dying in their own flame. She who walks with lightning ends the game. Revolution moon, anchor in your light and wake the fool. Toss and turn, you opiate masses. Sleep unsound and raise your glasses. Lift the curtain high, they who pull the strings. My electric friends will end the game. Revolution moon, anchor in your light and wake the fool. And I've talked about how we are electric beings. We have the power to create our reality. So, and I think that this year is going to be a big awakening for a lot of people who don't understand what's going on. So that's kind of what that song is about. So without further ado, I am going to read you the message that I typed out. This was yesterday, January 17th. And it's interesting because 17 is the 17th connected to the 17th letter of the alphabet, I believe. There's no coincidence that I channeled this message on that day. as Yeshua is talking about what that letter of the alphabet has also been talking about the military being the only way. So this is an interesting message, and I hope you enjoy. Good evening, friends. I come that man might have joy. You will find this passage in your biblical texts, and it is the truth. We are at the crux of a new world. There are now many beings of light and light ships overseeing this transition, and you indeed will be moving into more joy, freedom, and possibility. It is my wish that you ready yourselves for change. Change is often resisted, yet it can also be a catalyst for progress. Progress in the human consciousness, as well as progress within society. Humanity has been through many regime changes, and what you are witnessing now is yet another one of these changing of the guards. The new guardians of Earth will operate in love and service to others. They will operate in harmony and peace and abundance, for a great restoration is indeed taking place. Not just the restoration of benevolent leaders and wise counsels, but also the restoration of all things. You are here for a reason. When I say ready yourselves, I am speaking of courage, inner wisdom, and seeing from a higher vantage point that which you are being called to in which to serve each other. Although the old structures of your planet are being dismantled, it is important to remember that new structures will be needed to take their place. So, as the old falls, the new will need to be rebuilt. Some of this rebuilding might begin to happen alongside of the collapsing. This is the time of great change and transition, but remember that you are not alone. You are supported by loving beings of light, and I want to assure you that although you may see chaos as this purification continues, there will be no catastrophic event. However, there will be many events that will expose all darkness in order to bring forth the light of a new era on Earth. There has been a positive military force operating behind the scenes, and it is also a multidimensional operation. You may see this positive military expanding into your reality as this purification is intensifying and accelerating. Do not be afraid should this happen, as they are working for the liberation that is now in full swing. As I have said, the motherships have arrived. They are full of loving beings who have it as their mission to watch over and guard the beautiful planet of Earth in this great change. The Great Spirit is also with us, giving us guidance, strength, and courage. For it has been prophesied that a great turning would ensue into the fifth world. This world would be a restructured version of what you now call countries. The land masses will expand to federations, and the politicians and current government structures will be dismantled as these larger federations are overseen by benevolent councils of light. This is already beginning, and these councils are operating multidimensionally as well. For as we have explained, Earth is moving into becoming a new galactic hub, as she is invited to join with a wider interaction of beings due to her rising place in the cosmos. This is why many of you will start to notice your spiritual gifts expanding. The veil is thinning, and the reunification with your ancestral tribes and star families of light is imminent. This too has already begun, in fact. Now I ask you, is there anything greater than love? You shall witness the expansion of the Christos consciousness, and this is rooted in love. You shall also see the liberation of the mind from controlling beliefs. You will witness to the rising truth of religion, and this shall free the mind to move into greater love and truth. It is the last leg of the battle. Like the running of the bulls, you will find the strength to endure and to thrive and emerge exhilarated. We have made mention of profiteering systems that enslave humanity many times, and these systems will continue to be dealt blows that diminish their power over the people. For the power is being returned to we the people. Blow after blow will be met by faulty power structures and fraudulent leaders who stand in the way of this liberation I speak of. And we the people will be met with win after win as the pathway is opened up for a new cycle to begin. Stand in your truth and power. Walk with the courage of the lion. Call in the protection of your guides and guardians. Set your intentions daily. Protect your path and protect your energy. And there is no greater power than the power of intention, coupled with a loving heart to guide that intention. I leave you now with support and encouragement for the exciting and eventful year ahead. I am Yeshua, bringer of the dawn, bringer of the new star, as are you. We are all facilitating this great transition back into the light together. Even you can do greater things than I. Thank you, Yeshua. So there's a couple things he mentions in this channeling that I wanted to look up. One, he mentions the running of the bulls, and I'm like, that's kind of weird that he would mention that. That's a event that happens in Spain, and you see the people running alongside these bulls, and it's a very fast, intense energy, sometimes dangerous energy, and I do feel like he's giving us that because that is sort of the energy that we're in right now. So I wanted to look up the spiritual meaning, and it can be a spiritual experience for the runners as they face fear and transformation. Many runners describe the run as a profound, almost spiritual or transformative experience, a test of limits and a confrontation with fear, leading to a sense of being part of something bigger. And I do believe we are definitely moving into something much bigger than just our human experience on this planet. We're going to start opening up to more of a galactic interaction with the cosmos and with our star families, is what Yeshua explained. And then it says it also represents a cycle of life and death. The presence of the bulls and the danger involved touches on universal themes of life, death, and transformation, prompting reflection on personal growth and letting go. This is interesting because I drew a few cards just for myself this week, and they were really a new deck that I got, just really short, simple cards. And one was rest, and the other card was, I think it was integration, and then the other card was courage. So I think that in the coming couple months, before this fire horse energy comes in, I think we're still kind of releasing a lot, shedding the last vestiges of the last year, the snake, shedding our skin, shedding maybe old identities, old relationships. And sometimes that takes a lot of integration and downtime and rest. And then I think that we will be moving into a little bit more of action later in the year. Is kind of the vibe I was getting from those cards. It also says that the spiritual meaning of the running of the bulls can symbolize devotion, community, bravery, facing fear, and connecting with tradition. So perhaps it's Yeshua's kind of giving me this as we will be moving into finding more like-minded communities and maybe connecting with old traditions of the past, like shamanism. Really, I believe is not new age, but it's ancient wisdom and knowledge that we could be moving back into. And I do believe that this new cycle will probably be combining like ancient tradition with new technology. That's kind of how the timeline that I would like to be on, or that I see happening in a positive way. So the next thing I wanted to look up that he mentioned in this channeling is he mentions a prophecy called the turning to the fifth world. And this prophecy is largely associated with the Hopi, and it describes a coming era of purification and transformation from our current fourth world, marked by humanity's choice between a path of unity in nature or the fifth world, or destructions It has signs like the blue star kachina, snakes of iron, giant spider webs. The snakes of iron, I believe, are the railroads, or it could even be tar roads, or giant spider webs, which could be the webs of technology, indicating that this time is near. And I think we're in the time right now. It also speaks of a great cleansing and a return to harmony with the earth, guided by spiritual awakening, and where humanity moves into a new age of peace if it chooses love and respect over division. So I do believe there's kind of a timeline split too, that some people will probably choose the love and unity, where others will choose like this dystopian, technocratic, divisive, fear-based kind of reality. So we are creating our reality. So I was also, again, told to beware of my thoughts, because we will start manifesting quickly, more quickly. We're going to start creating our realities. I wanted to mention, I've even been manifesting like small things, like really quickly. Like I needed a filter for my heating device in my house. And we have a really old house, so it's a really old furnace. And I actually found one for $3 at a thrift store, and it was close enough to the size where my son was able to install it and kind of make some modifications to it, because it was just like a half an inch off or something. So it's working. And then I also there was another item that I couldn't find that they were all out of. And then I went to a thrift store and I found that item for a few bucks, which was awesome yesterday. So I do believe that there is this manifesting capability that's kind of intensifying right now. So back to this prophecy, there's key elements that the Hopi believe, and it's that the earth has gone through 3 previous worlds, and each was destroyed by moral failings, leading to the emergence of the current 4th world, where humanity is meant to live in balance. This talks about the Great Purification, a period of significant upheaval, cleansing, and awakening, which is prophesied to cleanse the world. And they call that the Great Purification. Again, and I think we're in that right now. We're in this cleanup period. And then it talks about the 5th world. This is the anticipated final world, a time of peace, harmony, and unity achieved through a conscious choice by humanity. And I do believe that as these light ships that I've seen in my dreams are here now, I believe that we are ready to turn into this 5th world. I feel like this is facilitating this great transition back into the light, and that Yeshua was talking about. So another thing it represents is the choice for humanity, the path of the one-hearted, or unity, compassion, and respect for nature and spiritual connection, or the path of the two-hearted, which is division, destruction, and disrespect for Mother Earth. In essence, this prophecy serves as both a warning about our current destructive path and an invitation to choose a spiritual and ecological rebirth into the 5th world. And a lot of people in the New Age community call that like the 5D. It's emphasizing a collective shift towards peace and interconnectedness. So I also drew a card from the Isis deck by Alana Fairchild today, and actually 2 short cards flipped out. Before I read that card, just a reminder, if you would like to connect with me, and these are collective readings that I'm bringing to you guys for free. If you'd like to donate and help me out with the many hours that I spend creating these videos, and I do spend a lot of time during the week paying attention to things, getting messages from Spirit so that I can bring them to you guys here. If you'd like to donate, go to redmountainshaman.com, and at the bottom of my contact page there is a link to my PayPal. On that contact page, you can also book a session with me if you're interested in finding out more about messages for your own personal life. And usually in those sessions, I will do them over the phone. I will go into a shamanic journey with the clients, and they can ask about 5 questions. These sessions are usually about 70 minutes long, and I call in the guides to channel information to answer your personal questions. So again, these messages on this video is just like more collective energy. Okay, so the first card I wanted to read was Past Life, Present Power. It says, as the soul grows in service to the great feminine and her intention that all beings be healed and free, it gathers internal resources to assist on the path. These resources include powers and gifts from other lifetimes. You are currently integrating past life abilities. Be open to what is taking place as your soul awakens ancient power and abilities in you. And in a session this week, somebody asked about if we will be meeting our higher selves in the future in this 5D. And what I saw was a vision of our higher self just actually kind of merging in with our human avatar. So more and more of the higher self or our higher perspective and these spiritual abilities is, I believe, going to be merging with us. And this is already happening. The next card I wanted to read is called the Eye of Horus. The Eye of Horus brings divine perception, protection, and insight. You are gifted with certain spiritual abilities, including divine sight, that are awakening and growing now. You have much divine support and protection so that you may grow your abilities and serve others with your divine gifts. Trust your perception and know that you are divinely protected. So I do believe that even though we may be getting these kind of like psychic attacks or weird dreams that may put us in a little bit of fear, there is kind of this dark energy flailing its last kind of hurrah to try to maintain their power. We can have protection and joy and peace and love on our path as long as we, ground ourselves, work on our breathing to regulate our nervous system when we're in anxiety or fear, and set our intentions in the morning for what we want to experience throughout the day. Also setting our intentions and really thinking about the things that we want to manifest. Because as I said, I believe this manifesting energy is growing with power too. So beware of your thoughts, what you're wanting to manifest. There is a new moon coming up. So maybe do a little ceremony for yourself and think about, connecting with spirit through whatever spiritual rituals, lighting a candle, something as simple as that, and putting out to the universe what it is that you want to co-create with it. So I wanted to give my son Eli credit for the cover art today. He created this We the People cutting board for us, which I'm not going to use as a cutting board because I want to keep it. I'm just kind of more using it as a inspirational piece of art. So thank you, Eli, for making that, and it really inspired today's message. So I hope something resonated today for you guys. I'm sending you all love, and until next Sunday when I create another video, take care.